Hello students, welcome back to your own channel NEET Achiever. Like you know, in this channel we are discussing the PYQs of NEET 2025. Now today we will discuss from the class 11 chapter that is called the molecular basis of inheritance. Let me tell you, this year 7 questions they have asked from this chapter. We will see all the questions in a sequential manner, and meanwhile I will be teaching you concept bits and pieces from here and there. So today's first concept that I am going to teach you is called the packaging of DNA. Let us start the packaging of DNA. Now, after completing this little concept, we will see 2 questions that have come in NEET. Now, let me clarify what is DNA, then we will jump to the concept itself. See, DNA is a polynucleotide. That means DNA is made up of little monomers of nucleotides. Now, this nucleotide, there are 3 things in this nucleotide. Number 1 is sugar, number 2 is phosphate group, number 3 is nuclear bases. Now, nitrogenous bases, sugar and phosphoric acid makes one monomer of the DNA, that is called the nucleotide. This nucleotide are made in chains. Suppose this is the number 1 chain of nucleotide. Now, in DNA there are 2 chains. Now, these chains are wrapped around in a helical manner. So, you see the DNA structure like this. Now, in this structure of DNA, there are 2 chains, and these chains are called double-stranded DNA. This is the double-stranded DNA. Now, what is there in one chain? In one chain there is a monomer. It is made up of monomer called nucleotide. And what is there in one nucleotide? There are 3 things. Number 1 is phosphate group. Number 2 is nitrogenous bases or N bases. And number 3 is sugar. Now, these 3 makes one unit, and this one unit makes a chain. Like that, there are 2 chains, and these 2 chains are arranged in a helical manner. This is basically a DNA. Now, when you look in a DNA, the DNA length is very long. For a small cell, basically a cell size is 5 micrometer to 10 micrometer. A eukaryotic cell is basically of this size. Now, inside this small structure, very small nucleus is present, and in that nucleus, in a eukaryotic cell, the DNA is present. We will discuss everything. Just be patient and see. This is a very small structure, and the length of this DNA thread is 2.2 meter in human beings. Now, the question arises, how this very big structure, 2.2 meter long, fits in a very small structure that is approximately 10 micrometer. How does this happen? So here the concept comes, the packaging of DNA. DNA is packaged in such a molecular fashion, in such a structure that it fits in a very small structure, say 10 micrometer. How does this packaging occur? We have to see, and now we have to understand the elements that are required for packaging of DNA. Now, to see a DNA, we basically use electron microscope. In light microscope, we see the cell something like this. Use the light microscope and you see the cell, you look at a structure something like this. But when you see the nucleus with an electron microscope that has a magnifying power of 1 lakh, so you see the DNA molecule as chromatin, something like this. Now, in an electron microscope, you are looking at the chromatin, you are looking at the DNA directly. In a light microscope, you don't see the cell. You don't see the DNA inside the cell. You see the cell, you see the nucleus. Now, in the electron microscope, you see the structure something like this. Now, what is this thread-like structure? This thread-like structure is a DNA. Is a thread of DNA. Remember, DNA is a long chain. This is a chain. And in this chain, you see beads-like structure, like a necklace. There is a string and there are beads on the necklace. Now, this very long structure, that is the DNA, is packed with the help of these beads. So the first and foremost thing is to remember that the DNA is looking like this. The significance of this structure is that this structure is done due to the packaging of DNA. When the DNA is packed in a special structure, these beads appear. Now what are these beads? These beads are called nucleosome. Nucleosome. So the very first thing in the concept packaging of DNA, I want to tell you about nucleosome. What is a nucleosome? Now, a nucleosome is basically made up of DNA and protein. What happens for packaging of the DNA? The long DNA is wrapped around a protein. This is a structure, this is the DNA, and it is wrapped around a protein. This protein is called histone. And when this structure is seen in an electron microscope, it looks like this. So basically a DNA for packaging, what it does, it wraps around a protein. Many of these structures, this wraps makes the DNA coiled in a form. The DNA get condensed, the DNA get coiled, and due to this coiling, this long molecule, this 2.2 meter of DNA is packed inside a small cell, is packed inside a small nucleus. Now how this packaging is done? This is a protein, this protein is called histone protein. Histone protein. Now the long thread of DNA wraps around this histone protein like this. This histone protein is called histone octamer. There are two kinds of histone protein. Number one histone protein is the one where the DNA wraps on it. So that the histone protein that is wrapped by the DNA is called histone octamer, and which links this wrapping, which packs this wrapping, which seals this wrapping, is called H1 histone. H1 histone. So we have two kinds of histone. Number one histone is the protein itself where the DNA is spiraling, wrapping around the protein, and number two is the linker histone. It is also called the linker histone that locks this wrapping. This wrapping must be compacted. This wrapping must be in the form that it remains. So this H1 histone is called the linker histone. It locks the wrapping, and the wrapping is done on a histone protein that is called the octamer. So this is the structure of a nucleosome, and in a DNA molecule many nucleosomes are present, so that the DNA gets coiled, and then the coiling implicates that the DNA is packed. Now we have to understand certain questions. Number one, how many base pairs present in this nucleosome? So the answer is very common, written in NCERT. You have to learn it by heart. In every nucleosome there are 200 base pairs. What are base pairs? The pairing between the nitrogenous bases. जैसे ATGC you say that adenine binds with thymine, and guanine binds with cytosine. This is the base pairs. So in a nucleosome there are 200 base pairs. Now in a nucleosome we see the DNA that is having 200 base pairs and two types of protein. Number one is the histone octamer, number two is H1 histone or the linker histone. Now listen to the question. We have to understand little bit about this histone octamer. What it is actually. Now number one, histone octamer is made up of 4 pairs of histone proteins. There are total 5 types of histone proteins. We do not remember the name. It is not in our syllabus, but we remember the numbers. There are 4 histone proteins in the octamers that are present in pairs. One histone protein, there are 2 pairs. Likewise, 4 histone proteins make 4 pairs. That means 8 histone proteins, and therefore the name is octamer. Octamer because there are 8 histone proteins. But how many types of histone proteins, if anyone asks, you have to say 4 types of histone proteins. Therefore, in the octamer, 4 types of histone protein present, and in the H1 histone, 1 type of histone protein present. In total, there are 5 type of histone proteins, 4 in the octamer, that is present in pairs, and 1 in the histone linker protein. Now the question comes, DNA is wrapped around this histone. What is the significance of this wrapping? Why it wraps? Why it glues to the histone octamer? What is the bond between them? You have to say that DNA is a negative molecule due to presence of phosphate. DNA is a negative molecule. DNA is a negatively charged molecule. And histone protein is a basic protein that is positive charged. What are the bases? Bases release OH minus, and if someone releases OH minus, they automatically becomes positive charge. So basic proteins are positive charge. DNA, due to the phosphate group, phosphoric acid is negatively charged. Therefore, they can easily wrap around each other, therefore easily stick to each other. So because the histone is positively charged, the question comes in NEET this year, why the histone octamer is positive charge? So you have to answer, in histone octamer protein, they are present basic amino acids. Due to this basic amino acid, the histone octamer is positive in charge. The name of this basic amino acid is lysine and arginine. Very important question. This appears in many exams in the past years. You have to remember the name. Histone proteins are rich in amino acid, basic amino acid known as lysine and arginine. Now this topic is over. Now let me say a small concept, then we will look the question of the NEET. Now, when this histone, the cell is in S phase, you know the cell cycle, there are different phases. S phase, first there is G phase, then the S phase comes, then D2 phase comes, then the M phase begins. Now when the cell is in S phase, the DNA duplicates, the DNA becomes double, and when the DNA becomes double, the need of the packaging of DNA becomes eminent. We need to package the DNA because the DNA has double. We cannot contain the DNA in the cell. So what it does, nucleosomes start forming. So the question appears, at which stage of cell cycle we see beads on string structure of the chromatin? We have to say in S phase. But this coiling is not sufficient. The nucleosome coiling is not sufficient. We need to coil the DNA even further. You know, the chromatin material later becomes chromosome. Now this chromosome, this chromatin material to convert into chromosome needs extra proteins for coiling. These proteins are called non-histone chromosomal proteins. Again, for packaging of DNA in eukaryotes. See, this is the very important point. In prokaryotes, the coiling is not required, the condensation is not required. But in eukaryotes, the DNA are big, so the coiling and packaging is required with more power. So, the packaging of DNA in eukaryotes requires 2 kinds of protein. Number 1 protein is called the histone protein, that makes beads on string structure, makes the nucleosome, and when the DNA needs further coiling, the number 2 protein is required, that is called non-histone chromosomal protein. So in total there are 2 proteins. Number 1 histone protein, number 2 non-histone chromosomal protein. Histone proteins are used when in S phase of cell cycle, but when the chromosome is formed in the metaphase, during the metaphase of the cell cycle, the chromosomes are formed from the chromatin, and this required extra protein that is called non-histone chromosomal protein. Now, when the chromosome is present and we stain the chromosome, certain area of the chromosome are lightly stained. That means when you see in the microscope, you cannot see it properly. The stain is very light. But at certain areas, the stain is very tightly bound to the DNA. You can see it clearly. The question comes, why this staining difference is there? Why certain areas are lightly stained? Why certain areas are dark stained? Why this differentiation is there? We have to answer because certain areas of DNA are uncoiled. They are not coiled so much because their transcription is happening. The DNA is making proteins, and for making proteins, the condensation must be uncoiled. A condensed DNA cannot make proteins because in a protein, the DNA strand is copied, and for copying a DNA strand, we need an open DNA strand. So the question appears, what is called euchromatin and what is called heterochromatin? So the answer is, the parts of the chromatin that are lightly stained, that are transcriptionally active, that means they are forming proteins that are transcriptionally active, are called euchromatin. And the DNA that stained very brightly, stains are bound to the DNA that can be seen very clearly, those stains are called heterochromatin. Do heterochromatin play role in transcription? The answer is no. They are transcriptionally inactive. So there are two kinds of chromatin on the basis of staining. Number one, euchromatin. Number two, heterochromatin. Euchromatins are transcriptionally active. They are lightly stained. The euchromatin is lightly stained because the DNA is loose. They are loose because they have to form mRNAs. The mRNA enzymes must use the strands of the DNA. For that, the strand of the DNA must be loose. So this is the euchromatin. Heterochromatin that are heavily stained, tightly stained, they do not take any role in transcription. They are called heterochromatin. So this is the concept I have explained. Now let's see the question. Total they have asked 7 questions. I am going to discuss 2 questions in this video. Let's see the first question. So number 1 question. Histones are enriched with. They are asking which amino acid are present in the histone. Number 1, leucine and lysine. You know it is the wrong option because I have already told you lysine and arginine is the answer. Number 2, phenylalanine and leucine. This is again the wrong option. Number 3, phenylalanine and arginine. This is again the wrong option. Number 4 says lysine and arginine. This is the right answer. Therefore, histones are basic proteins. Why they are basic? Because they have basic kind of amino acid. What are those amino acids? Lysine and arginine. This was the first question. Now, next question, let's see. Now, it is a match the type of following question. They have given 4 columns. I mean, 2 lists they have given. 4 questions they have given. Now, you have to match euchromatin and heterochromatin. You know, euchromatin is the loosely packed chromatin that lightly stains. So this would be the answer for euchromatin, and heterochromatin would be densely packed dark stained chromatin. There are again more 2 options related to the discovery of the DNA that we will discuss in the next video. But for the sake of understanding and rote learning, you have to remember these 2 facts. There was a scientist called Griffith. Griffith did his experiment on bacteria called Streptococcus pneumoniae. This question has come. You have to remember. Actually, what happened that scientists were trying to understand that what is the biomolecular nature of the DNA molecule. I mean to say genetic material. Is the genetic material protein? Is the genetic material any kind of carbohydrate? So these experiments were conducted. So there are many scientists in the lineage. So number 1 was Griffith. He experimented on Streptococcus pneumoniae. Number 2 scientists were Hershey and Chase. These both scientists gave the proof that yes, DNA is the genetic material. So these two more options are there in this question. We will see these questions in the next video. But for now, I have told you two concepts. Number one is about the histones and the nucleosome, and number two is about the euchromatin and heterochromatin. Hope you like the video. Follow this series, because you know in this series I'm going to discuss all the PYQs of NEET, and having said that, I will try to cover the NCERT. 25 to 30 questions will directly come in NEET 2026 from these videos. Stay motivated, follow this series. Thank you. Hello friends, welcome back to your own channel NEET Achievers. Let's discuss the topic, the molecular basis of inheritance. This year 7 questions have come. Now let me go step by step. सबसे पहले, the foremost thing in this chapter, we need to know about the genetic material, that is DNA. But listen, in the earlier times, people didn't know that DNA was actually the genetic material. Some thought DNA was a protein. Some thought the genetic material is some kind of sugar. So like that, people were not sure what the nature of the genetic material was. So therefore, NCERT says a topic, the search of genetic material. What actually is a genetic material? People didn't know that time. So many scientists have come. From 1926, the researches were going on. The first scientist that we remember is the Frederick Griffith. Griffith's experiment shows that there is something called genetic material that transfers from one progeny to another. For example, if a bacteria is dividing, so there is some material in the old bacteria that is transferring to the new bacteria. This material is called the genetic material. But what was this? No one knew. First, Griffith was there that the bacteria called Streptococcus was used. It was a very famous experiment in 1928. Now let me tell you one by one all the scientists, then we will go to Griffith. So people didn't know about the genetic material. They have certain idea that genetic material, something like genetic material exists by the experiment of Griffith. Griffith was the one who shows that some kind of molecule is transferring from one generation to another generation. This experiment is called transforming principle. We will see it in a detail, but just a little while. After that, people wanted to know what was the nature of the genetic material. The concept that something is a genetic material was established by this scientist called Griffith. Now, what was the chemical nature of the genetic material? Is it a protein? Is it a fat? It is a sugar? Or it is DNA? Or it is RNA? No one knew. So, from 1933 to 1944, experiments were conducted. There are 3 scientists credited for it, Avery, MacLeod and McCarthy. They finally proved that the genetic material, the biological nature of it was DNA. They proved that DNA is the genetic material. But they do not know it for sure. Their experiment has some drawbacks. They were not sure exactly. They cannot tell that yes, DNA is the genetic material. So, in 1952, to exactly say univocally, exactly that DNA is the genetic material, this experiment, this proof was given by 2 scientists called Hersey and Chase. So in 1928, someone told that something is called a genetic material. That fact was established. Then the nature of the genetic material was searched out for. People suspected that it is DNA. It was till 1944. Then in 1952, it was confirmed that it is DNA by Hersey and Chase. Then you know the famous structure, the double helix structure of DNA given by Watson and Crick, that came in 1953, just 1 year after Hersey and Chase experiment. Then people knew now that DNA is the structure, DNA is the genetic material. Then they wanted to know how the DNA replicates. You know, in the genetic material is something that is transferred from the progeny, from the mother to the progeny. Now, when this transfer occurs, the DNA is duplicated, replication of DNA occurs. Now people were more excited to know the mechanism of replication of DNA. So again, very quickly, let's see the scientist that made it clear that yes, something is called genetic material was Griffith. Then the material, that is the chemical nature of the genetic material, they tried to prove, but they were not sure. They told it's DNA, but they were not sure. Three scientists, Avery, McLeod and McCarthy. The surety of the DNA came from the two scientists in 1952, the Hershey and Chase experiment. Then in 1953, Watson and Crick gave their double helix structure. Then from there, people tried to know the replication mechanism, how the DNA replicated, how the replicated DNA is transferred into the cell. When the cell divides, like mitosis happens, meiosis happens, how the replication is conducted. All those things started from there on. Now little bit information about all the scientists. In detail I am going to tell you. Let's see about the Griffith transforming principle. See, Griffith was a scientist. First and foremost thing to know about him, that he experimented on Streptococcus pneumoniae. It is a bacteria that causes a disease called pneumonia. Now what happens? There are two kinds of strains. The bacteria comes in variety. The Streptococcus pneumoniae bacteria comes in variety. One is called R, one is called S. Now the thing is that when the R bacteria is injected in a mice, the mice lives. When the S type of bacteria is injected in the mice dies. That means the disease causing bacteria is the S type of bacteria. Now what happens? When the S type of bacteria is heat killed, you boil the bacteria in heat, you kill the bacteria and then you give to the mice. You say what happens? The mice lives or die. The bacteria is killed, so it cannot cause the disease. So meanwhile the mice lives. Therefore, the R strain do not kill the mice. The S strain kill the mice. The heat subjected S strain do not kill the mice. This was the scenario. Now what happens? A magical thing happens when the R strands that do not kill the bacteria is added with a heat killed S strand. You know, understand, the heat killed S strand also do not kill the bacteria. So you take the R strand and you take the heat killed S strand. Now both these structures do not kill the mice. It is suspected that it won't kill the mice. But when these both are injected in the mice dies. What happens? Why the mice dies? It is called the principle of transformation. What happens when the S, that is heat killed, it is heat killed, so it cannot cause the disease, is mixed with the R. R is already not causing any disease, it won't kill the mice. Now when both are together, they kill the mice. How this happens? R itself do not kills, heat kills also do not kills the mice. But when both are together, the mice dies. What happens? The scientist says some genetic material from the heat killed material, because this is dead, this has no value, but inside this there is a genetic material. Heat will not alter the genetic material. So the transforming principle says the genetic material or something from the heat killed bacteria or the S strand gotten into the R strand. They got inside the R strand and they transformed the R strand, and now the R strand can kill the mice. Previously it was not killing, but due to something has come from the heat killed bacteria to the R strand, the R strand bacteria has transformed, and this transformed R strand bacteria is killing the mice. So therefore some people knew that something is transferring, and this something was suspected to be the genetic material. This was all about the transforming principle of Griffith. Now people wanted to know what was the nature of this genetic material. Was it a protein? Was it some kind of carbohydrate? Was it you may say DNA? Was it RNA? What was it? Now here comes the experiment of Avery, McLeod and McCarthy. Now people before 1944 used to believe that genetic material is protein. By these experiments, these three scientists have proven that no, it is not protein. It is not any kind of sugar. It seems to be the DNA. How they experimented, what were the foundations of their experiment, let us understand. What they did, you know that this is the experiment where the R bacteria was transformed. What they did, they took all this material and they used an enzyme called protease. Now when the protease was used in this experiment, the mice died as it was dying before. That means the using of protease. What is protease? Protease is a protein digesting enzyme. So when you use protease in it, you basically digest all the proteins over here. Now when the proteins are digested and yet the mice dies, that means protein is not the genetic material, because if it would be the genetic material and if the protein is digested, then the digested thing cannot transform a R strain. So therefore protein was not the genetic material. They took carbohydrate digesting enzymes and see the mice, yet the mice died. So they say that no, carbohydrate is also not the genetic material. Now the main thing happens, they use DNase. DNase is DNA digesting enzymes. In this setup, when DNase was used, the mice lived. That means the R strain was not transformed. Why it was not transformed? Because the DNA that would transform the R strain was digested due to the DNase enzyme. And as there is no DNA, there was no transformation of the R strain. And if there is no transformation of the R strain, you only say the mice will die or live. The mice lives. So using the DNase and protease and RNase enzymes, these three scientists proved that no, protein was not the genetic material. No, that RNA was not the genetic material. But when you use DNase, you see that transforming stopped. Mice lived. So they say yes, DNA may be. It seems that DNA is the genetic material. Now we have to be sure that DNA is exactly the genetic material in our organism. So this was the experiment of Hersey and Chase. First of all, NCERT very important line. They say the unequivocal proof that DNA is the genetic material comes from the experiments of Hersey and Chase. Unequivocal means what? It is clear from now. It is established in the world of biology that yes, DNA is the genetic material. Who experimented? The experimenters were Hersey and Chase. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel of NEET Achiever. Let's discuss the molecular basis of inheritance from standard 12th. Now today in this video, we will tackle 3 questions. For that we will learn about DNA. You know DNA is the genetic material basically. Now I am going to tell you something of the topic. The topic is that RNA is the real genetic material. The first genetic material was RNA. It is true that DNA is the genetic material in majority of the organism. It is the predominant genetic material. But before going to the DNA part, let me clear here that RNA is considered the first genetic material. And we will also see certain similarities between DNA and RNA. Why RNA is considered that it is the first genetic material. It is said that from the DNA, from the RNA, the DNA has evolved. So how this is possible? What are the common things in the genetic material? We will see under a topic called the search of genetic material. Our question is DNA or RNA, which is the first genetic material? So before telling about this, let's see what is a genetic material. Now there are 3-4 points in it. I am going to explain one by one. Number 1 point, a genetic material is a chemical molecule that can store certain information in it. From the class 8, 9, 10 we have heard that all the information, how the cell will act, what will happen to the cell, what molecules the cell will produce, what are the chemicals the cells synthesize, all are encoded in the DNA or the genetic material. So this is the number 1 point of being a genetic material. The feature of genetic material that it can store information. If you look between DNA and RNA, the answer is both can store information. How it is possible? See, actually, the genetic information is stored in the form of nitrogenous bases. The nitrogenous bases are adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. These nitrogenous bases in a particular sequence on the DNA strand or on the RNA strand determine what functions it will take. Basically, the information is stored in the pairing of this nitrogenous bases. Now, number one, a genetic material is something that can store information. Both DNA and RNA can store information because nitrogenous bases are present in them. But the question arises, which one is more stable? DNA is more stable or RNA is more stable? We have to say that DNA is more stable because in DNA, two strands are present. Complementary pairing of base pair we see in DNA. While in RNA, only one strand present and there is no complementary base pairing. So, DNA and RNA both can store information. More stable molecule to store information is DNA because of the presence of complementary base pairing. Now, second point is that RNA is genetic material in certain viruses. Why it is so? You understand the viruses like coronavirus came. Many coronavirus people were telling that the strands are evolving. For example, the virus evolving day by day. How the virus evolved? Because the virus, not coronavirus, many viruses have RNA genome and the RNA genome is less stable. And while the RNA genome is less stable, the genetic material is RNA which is less stable, it mutates in a faster way because it is less stable. So therefore, genetic material in majority of the animals, majority of the organism is DNA, while in certain viruses, the RNA is also a genetic material. But why do you say that RNA is the first genetic material and DNA is evolved out of the RNA? Because many biological processes that are essential in organisms, for example, metabolism, translation, transcription, all these are around the RNA molecule. All these processes have evolved around RNA molecule. A RNA molecule is a versatile molecule. It plays many roles in a cell. For example, it stores information. It is used in the production of proteins. It maintains the production of chemicals. It maintains metabolism. There are many uses of RNA molecule. So in this lecture, the first thing I am going to tell you about a assertion reason question directly from NCERT. Suppose the assertion is evidences show RNA was first genetic material. What would be the reason of this? The reason we will say that essential life processes evolved around RNA. Life is old, and when life came on this earth, there were occurrences of life processes, and these life processes evolved around what? RNA or DNA? You have to say RNA. Life was old and the processes of life were old as life was, and these processes evolved around RNA. That's why it is the evidence that RNA was the first genetic material. If this assertion comes, you have to give reason that yes, essential life processes evolved around RNA. What were these essential life processes? Number one, metabolism. Number two, translation. You know, translation means protein production. Number three, splicing. You know, in transcription, where the RNA is formed by the DNA, that RNA is transformed. There is cutting done on that RNA, and that process is called splicing. We will see it in detail in other videos. Again, RNA is a catalytic molecule. Many enzymes that are necessary for metabolism and the cell to work in a proper way are RNA. So therefore they are enzymes, therefore catalytic in nature. And adapter molecule, what is this? Say in the process of translation, we will know about translation in the upcoming videos, but just remember, in the process that is called translation, there is a molecule called adapter molecule. It is called tRNA. So what are the functions of RNA? RNA is a catalytic molecule. RNA is also adapter molecule. Hence it is a molecule used in translation, because adapter molecule is used in translation. Catalytic means it is the power of having enzymatic activity. Metabolism means all the cell functions are controlled by this protein synthesis and this RNA. And splicing means in the process of transcription, the modification done to the mRNA is called splicing. Therefore, RNA has many functions, and essential life processes have evolved around RNA. So it is safe to say that RNA was the first genetic molecule, then the DNA evolved from RNA. So this was the assertion reason from NCERT. Hope it is clear. Now back to the square question. Which is the genetic material, DNA or RNA? Obviously DNA is the main genetic material. But if sometimes question says if first genetic material, then you have to say RNA because of the following reason. Now let's see the question of NEET 2025. It is a statement based question. Two statements are given. I am reading the statement. Statement number 1. In the RNA world, RNA is considered the first genetic material evolved to carry out essential life processes. RNA acts as genetic material and also as a catalyst for some important biochemical reactions in living systems. Being reactive, RNA is unstable. Everything is true. So this statement is a true statement. Statement number 2. DNA evolved around RNA and is more stable genetic material. Its double helical strand being complementary resists changes by evolving repairing mechanism. This is the statement about DNA. Now you have to say both statements are correct. Statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect, like this. So the answer would be statement 1 and statement 2 both are correct. It will be the answer number 4. So this is all about the beginning of this video. I have told you about the origin of the genetic material. It was suspected RNA, but actually the genetic material, majority organisms, so the DNA is the genetic material. Now in the next video we will see how we have figured out that actually yes, DNA is the genetic material, and then we will see certain structures in the DNA, how the DNA is packed. This is all about this video. Stay tuned, follow the videos. Like I have told you, in this series 25 to 30 question NEET 2026 is confirmed. Thank you for watching. Stay motivated.